Yes, my G's, how are you guys doing? I've got a great new free plugin to talk about with you guys today, which I think is really useful in giving your sound design an extra edge and giving your whole track an extra edge. And this is a wonderful free tape plugin, and I've used tape plugins in the past. I've got another one I like, the OCS 45, that's really good. But this one is slightly different and it has a different sound and it also works really, really well. I really like the drive on it as well. So I've used it on a number of these elements in this sort of like minimal D&B loop I've just been working on just for fun. You can already hear it here in the intro. I've got these stabs on, right? They're straight down the middle with a lot of reverb, but with this tape emulation on. The best thing about it is really the wow and the flutter. Like it just gives such a nice... It gives such a nice pitch movement. And again, you don't have to use it to such extremes, but even in a little bit, you can hear that pitch movement in the build-up. Gives you that kind of like off-balance, unpredictable kind of sound, you know? I've used it here on my snare as well. It's completely transformed my click. Originally the click was sounding like this. With the tape on, it sounds like this. It's become like a bit wider, a bit more natural almost, and has a slightly different tone on it now. It sounds really, really sick to me. Like much better than the original click. Sounds much more like drum and bass now, you know? And again, that was just sort of playing with the settings in the tape as well. It seems to work well on like a number of different things. So I also put it on these, I've got these glitchy drum sound effects. And I run the tape on that as well. So you can hear there's like all this sort of pitch movement happening again in here. And you can mix the amount in as well. That's quite useful down here. So you can have like a bit more or less. I've used it again over here on these drop stabs. And here's a good place where we could have a quick look at some of the settings. So the crinkle adds in some noise, some sort of low rumbly noise. The hiss gives you that sort of higher pitched tape noise, which you can change with the color here. If you leave the noise and the crinkle on, it can sort of keep running throughout your whole track, even if there's no audio playing. So just be careful with how much you use and when you use it, and bounce it out if you need to, so you can cut the file. But also it's got this roll off. Sort of dampens the tape sound a bit. You've got this setting called Azimuth, which is very interesting. It kind of just gives a different sort of high-end sound. It's very subtle though. The head bump as well. Yeah, so these settings down here, the knobs take a little while to update sometimes. I don't know if it might just be my CPU on this project though. Yeah, they are great at changing the actual tone of the tape, which is excellent because you can have different versions of tape on different sounds and create like lots of different colors, so everything has separation, you know. Again, another great thing is the imperfections and the age. This helps to just do more taping. Think of it as like sort of enhancing everything that you've already sort of set up. And then obviously you've got your dry wet mix, but that is so nice because it just sounds really great on everything, you know. The more like, you know, what tape is great for is adding like imperfections into the sound. And the problem with electronic music production is it's often like too perfect. Like when you're using synths and stuff, like using wavetables, like the sounds can be too pitch perfect sometimes. So what the tape is great at is getting rid of that pitch perfect sound and putting everything in a more of a realistic tonality sort of field, you know. One of these channels has got a lot of the hiss coming through. I sometimes like to have a bit of hiss in my track anyway. I might leave it in there for this one. You see, like, everything now has like a slightly lively pitch movement, or a lot of things, like the sort of lead stabs, the clicky snare, the glitch effects. Yeah, and also put it on this kind of, on these scissors as well, these sort of scissor hats I've got. If you take a listen to these guys without the tape, I actually drove it up a fair bit on this one as well. You've got these different drive modes as well. They're like very, very subtle, but they do like kind of work differently sometimes, whether you use the ferric, the chrome, or the ferrichrome. You can turn up the wow and flutter a bit more. Now it's like kind of wobbling even more with the wow and flutter up. So now it's quite extreme. But it works because you still hear the main like scissor sound effect like from the hats. This is from a previous video. I demoed how I made this loop. But now you've got these extra sort of pitch movements in there as well. It just really fills out the kind of, fills out your mix a bit as well in a certain way. Because not only does it make it more natural, but it sort of like draws more attention to certain sounds, you know, because the pitch is moving. So it kind of, you kind of zone in on that a bit more, you know. Yeah, I also put it on this layer just finally. I had this sort of lead rhythmical ARP kind of layer that I made from the bass line, and by putting the tape on there, also really brings it to life for like with the drive and then a little bit of the wow and flutter. But this one really sort of, you know, really pops out the speaker a lot more here. When it's off, it just kind of like, I used it almost to like drive things up a bit as well. So yeah, one of the cool things you can do with tape as well is if you need to like drive a sound up, like give it a bit more brightness or a bit more volume, you can do it through the tape plugin while you're adding in like tonality shifts and pitch imperfections. So it's a great way you like do like a couple of things at once, you know, so a bit of drive and a bit of like imperfection together. That's really nice. And that's why using things like tape can be often like more, what's the right word? Like for drum and bass, or for this kind of like niche electronic music where the sound design is like really important, it can be actually like you can get much better results with something like this than you can a lot of the time with like classic distortion or classic saturation plugins, because they might work well for like a more classic, you know, overdriven sound, but the tape, you're able to like keep things relatively clean still and add like an extra drive and imperfections, you know, providing you're using a good plugin. But this one is free and it looks and sounds great. I just wanted to recommend it to you guys. I've just tested it out for about 15 or 20 minutes, but I really liked what I heard, so thought I'd share that with you guys. Thank you very much for your attention. May I remind you as well before I go, if you're not subscribed, please hit the subscribe button. We have about 50% of people who watch my videos are subscribed, the other half aren't. Hit the like button as well. Leave a comment if you thought this plugin was cool. And also, while you're down there checking out the other links to my services in my YouTube description, you can find preset packs for Vital, Phase Plant, Serum and Current. Also, I have mixing and mastering services available via email. Send me an email, info@artifactmusic.com. I have production lessons available as well. You can hit me up for lessons one-on-one. Just check out my lesson calendar. And if you want to support the channel, come over to Patreon. We've got a great community over on my Discord that's accessible via Patreon. Thank you very much for watching today. That's it from me. More from me very soon. Much love.